Today on Food Not Phones, we're going to talk about what it's like when you're eating by yourself. A new study that was just published in the Public Health Nutrition Journal found that about 20% of adolescents report often eating alone. And the bottom line is when you eat alone, it's related to being overweight or obese, having less healthy dietary intake, perceptions of less supported food-related parenting practices. And what they did is they analyzed the diet of 1,652 adolescents. And that's where they found that 21% of them were eating alone. And, part of what we're trying to do on Food Not Phones is get people to talk to each other over the dinner table, over breakfast, over lunchtime, to be able to combat these kinds of situations. And what's so important, and this study points it out, is adolescence is considered a foundational life stage where individual patterns for long-term health behaviors are established that last into and throughout adulthood. So put down the phones while we're eating, talk to each other so these people don't have to eat alone, right?
Yes, this is a great study and really teaches us a lot about how what our mealtime practices are and how that relates to the foods that we eat. Because what the study points out is that they found out there was a link when children are eating alone, then they have less fruit and vegetable intake and more sugary beverage intake. Two things we don't want to happen in growing children. So that is one big, huge takeaway for me. And another thing that was a big takeaway for me in this, Phil, because I have experienced being a mom myself and talking to a lot of other parents since the pandemic, that more children and more families are kind of having their own space in their home, and oftentimes eating alone. Oftentimes that involves a screen involved. But one thing that was interesting about this study is that they're talking about that, those children that are a part of a autonomy supportive parenting, that they do better if they're eating alone, if they still know that their parents want them to eat fruits and vegetables, and they don't want them to drink sugary beverages, and they don't want them to be on their screens as much. When they know that there are certain boundaries and certain eating habits that their parents are encouraging or have rules about, then they tend to adhere to those practices, even if they are eating alone more. And, there is a big difference in the way that our society has changed with how more moms are working out of the home. I think since 2014, 70% of women are working full time now. And we just know historically that mothers can be most often primary caregivers and making the food choices for the family. So there's a big part of that has changed. And we're also seeing younger people, kids that are younger than 18, that are going to work as well. So there are a lot of changes in our schedules and our habits. But what we need to remember is that we don't want to always eat alone, maybe. And if we are, we really want to take into consideration, if we are eating alone, what sort of diet habits is that supporting or not supporting?
And the study also points out that what they found is in the homes that had a lot of sweet snacks and candy, these kids were more likely to eat alone as well. So, there's just everything is interrelated with this. So get ready for our next Food Not Phones day, if you would. It's going to happen on Thanksgiving and throughout the year. We're talking about Food Not Phones at different times of the year, different events. And also make sure you go to FoodNotPhones.com to learn more about it and see more research about why this is so important. Thanks, Sally.
Be sure to visit supermarketguru.com for the latest marketing analysis, issues, and trends. And don't forget to join us back here next Monday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for more.